Yo yo, and welcome to Game Design with Terrence. Sorry I can't make it with all this flood and south, but Game Design 101 will continue. So let's start with the major aspects of game design. First, graphic design is the process of creating graphics for your games. Graphics consist of digital images, hand-drawn images, 3D models, and much more. Creating cool and dread graphics is an art form, and you can make an entire career out of graphic design. Here you can see images of a spider, and when put together, they can form an animation. Let's see this in action. So we will drag the images on the screen, and that creates an animation, and we can preview it like this. Next is sound design. Games must have good sound effects and music to accompany gameplay and graphics. This is another career in game design where you can both create and edit sounds and music for games. Here are some sounds we'll be using in our game. Another aspect is UI design. UI stands for user interface, and it incorporates the design of buttons, text, and font design, menus, and even score tracking in your game. Here we will create a button. Now we can discuss programming, which is another major aspect of game design. These are scripts we are using in the game today, and here you can see the code for the button, which controls the button click. Now we will set up the button to show the interaction of clicking it. Ah, we GT, it worked. Now let's set up the game. We will drag all the required game components to the screen. And as I'm doing this, you can see there is a game section and scene section. The scene section is where you set up your game, and the game section is where you preview the game. Now we will add the spawner, which will spawn our enemies, and the base, which is the area that can be destroyed by our enemies. So let's look at what we have now. Ay, 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 we looking good, eh? The next part we will look at is user input and the enemy script. First, the enemy script is set up that enemies can have different attack, life, speed, and a different score when killed. So enemy 1 has an attack of 10 and a life of 10, and we have enemies 2, 3, and 4. Now this function, on mouse down, is interesting. This function says when the game detects a mouse down event on the enemy, which is a mouse click or tap on a touchscreen, the enemy will lose a life. If the enemy has no lives remaining, you will score points equal to the enemy you killed, and the enemy is destroyed. Here, we see explode enemy is called, and this will destroy the enemy. Let's see our game in action. You can click on the enemy, and when it is destroyed, an explosion happens. Come on boy, why are you taking so long? And if you leave an enemy to hit the base loses life and the enemy dies. So thanks for watching, and here's a list of all the software you can use to create games in Unity.